Yes,
Oh,
you are. So what you just were describing to me reminded me of that situation we were just reading about with Bill Thetford, where he was in a group of people and they circled him, and he went around to each one of them and received their blessing and gave them a blessing.
yeah,
And how how beautiful that is to have that kind of
yeah. That
connection.
that reminds me of that movie Tuesdays with Maury.
Uh-huh.
You've seen that movie?
I've not seen it. I've heard of it.
Oh,
I'm
fantastic!
just, yeah.
And a true story. It's a true story. True story about Maury Schwartz. He was a um, a professor um, at a university, and Mitch Albom, the writer who was also into sports, um, had been a student of his, and had promised to keep in touch, and then didn't. And then one day he sees on the news where they were saying that Maury Schwartz, the way they said that he was dying, and it gave Mitch. Mitch decided to go visit him, and it's titled Tuesdays with Maury because that's what it became. Um, Mitch was transformed um, as a result of the relationship uh, with Maury, learning about the realities of life and death and love and if you get a chance, Lynn, uh, it's a beautiful movie. Or the book, I read the book first, and then I saw I saw the movie. Jack Lemmon plays Maury, and then it was a one person play. Oh my God! And there was a point in the play where I'm turning my head because I was by myself, and um, I'm turning my head because I didn't want the person next to me to see that I was crying, and then I hear the person next to me sniffing, and you realize everybody in the theater was sniffing. Oh my God, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Tuesdays with Maury, if you get a chance.
I'll check it out. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've heard of it, I heard a lot about it. So, and I'll probably watch it. I am such a emotional wuss, that, I don't like to watch anything that's going to get me caught up into my feelings, because I get so caught up into my feelings, and that's been a while ago. Maybe I wouldn't be that way now. Maybe I'm beyond that now. I don't know, but for most of my life, I've really avoided anything that caused me to be sad. Uh,
that's so Aquarius what you just said. I know, and I know that about you. But that is so Aquarius. Oh my God. Uh, yeah, nope, nope, not doing that. Yep.
Not doing that.
And yet, as I was reading this book that we were just reading, it grabbed me. And see, I'm the opposite. I'm actually the opposite, Leo. But I'm a Leo with Pisces and some Cancer. I got a whole bunch of that going on. Uh, um, I cry. I don't hide my tears. I understand that just about everything that I feel through my tear ducts. That's the way it comes up. It comes out. Whether I'm happy, whether I'm sad, regardless of when I'm angry, tears.
Yeah.
Um, and if I don't let it come out, then there's going to be an implosion, and we certainly don't want that. No, we
No.
certainly don't want that. So,
No implosions, nope. But it's not that, first, and I see Sharon has her hand up, so I just real quickly, yeah, I get emotional. I don't cry when I'm mad. I've never cried when I was angry. I don't even know, why I would be crying if I was angry, but I do cry a lot. I probably cry, uh, I don't know, 10 times a day at least. I could be watching a commercial on television and it will bring me to tears.
Me
So
too.
yeah, and so uh, you know, that's why, I'm just, if I know it's going to make me cry, I ain't going to go there. I'm going to just, I'll watch something that, makes me smile. Although, yeah, they all make me smile too, that all that crying, brings about.
But they're good. But this is one of those, just like what we were just reading.
Yeah,
It draws emotion, but at the same, it's a smile. It's a bittersweet, if you will.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. And so,
Um.
yeah, even though I'm Aquarius, I do have a Cancer rising.
Oh, there you go. There
My
it is.
ascendant's in Cancer, and that's why I'm the mama all the time too. That's why I have all that motherly uh motherly being about me is because
Yes.
that's just
It's just who you are,
that's who I am.
and we love that, mommy.
Yeah, that's who I came here to be. So
That's right.
that's
And you know
fine
what's
by me.
funny? What's funny? My mom didn't allow me to cry because I wasn't allowed to cry. She,
Wow.
in her mind, crying meant pain.
Oh,
And I was not allowed to cry. So when she came to live with me, and the story. When she came to live with me, I'm watching a commercial. It was exactly that. I'm watching a TV, watching something. We're watching something on television. A commercial came on, and I started to cry. And she's looking at me out the, like, really out the corner of her eye, really out the corner of her eye. And I looked right at her so that she can see this, right? And that's when we had the conversation about that crying doesn't have to be a painful thing. You can cry when you're happy, mom. And I'm explaining to her about, that it's okay to cry. And after that, okay, so she had a favorite song that we would listen to now and again. And mommy, we would sing, and she started letting herself feel her feelings. And she would cry, and we would laugh and cry. And oh my God, we would dance and cry. And it was great. And
love it.
that's my memories.
Yeah.
That's my memories of mommy. That's my memories of mommy. I have
Yeah,
a phone
that's
call I have to
beautiful.
take. I'll be back.
Okay. All right. And Sharon has her hand up. Please, Sharon, go ahead.
Oh, I just want to say that Tuesdays with Maury is a good movie to watch. Andrew, my older boy, he went to Brandeis, so he just missed having Maury, but he had another Maury who was Maury's best friend. And I got to tell you, Lynn, it's one of the best movies. It'll make anyone cry, anyone. I mean, or you just feel so grateful because Mitch Maury just wanted to return to being a baby and allowing people to wipe him, allowing people to feed him. He had the Lou Gehrig's disease. So it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
beautiful. And knowing the way you are, the thing that I recognized when I got into Pal Talk years ago is that I had a lot in common with you with being sensitive because I cry like, so, and now Cliff is crying, and I love it because he never did that. He cries about every movie, even when it's not that sad. So that's all I want to say. Thank you.
That's so sweet. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. All right. So I'm going to read. We're in the Holy Instant and Special Relationships, and I'm not sure if this is where we ended up. I don't even care. I'm just going to read here because I like it. And if you want to correct me, I'm correctable. If you want to say, hey, we were way past this or we never got to this, I don't care. This is what we're going to read right now. Okay. Oh, Karen, I love your new villa. Wow. Looks like you're in Italy now. I love it. All right. So this is text chapter 15, section 5, the holy instant and special relationships. I'm going to read this paragraph 3. You cannot love parts of reality and understand what love means. If you would love unlike to God, who knows no special love, how can you understand it? To believe that special relationships with special love can offer you salvation is the belief that separation is salvation, for it is the complete equality of the atonement in which salvation lies. How can you decide that special aspects of the sonship can give you more than others? The past has taught you this, yet the holy instant teaches you it is not so. And so Jesus is really pointing out to us the equality of the sonship. That there is, and when he's talking about the sonship, where is it that he says the sonship is the totality of God's creation. So he's not just talking about human persons when he's talking about the sonship. He's talking about the totality of God's creation. So, and this is what has caused us all of this heartache, is that we have separated out parts of equality, parts of the oneness, and we say, I like this part, but I don't like that part. Not even realizing that this part is only possible because you have pulled it out of reality and left a hole in reality. And that part that I don't love is the hole in reality. If I were not pulling out separate parts of it and saying, I like men, but I don't like women. I like children, but I don't like adults. I like trees, but I don't like forests. Um, what are we saying? We're separating out parts of reality, parts of equality, and then thinking that one thing is better than another. And so I don't know if anybody has any thoughts about this, or if anyone would like to reread the paragraph, or let me see, where's my participant? Mickey, please go ahead.
I just love those last couple of lines. How can you decide that special aspects of the sonship can give you more than others? But isn't that what we constantly do? That's all this world is about, is deciding that some things are better than others. And I, yeah, I'm just kind of speechless at this. It's like that's all we're doing all the time. And unless we're having a holy instant, we're choosing parts that we like and not others. That just overwhelmed me. Or I just had to say that. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, it is overwhelming, absolutely. Because if you want to know why, just read this. It tells you exactly why. Why is this going on? Why is that going? Because, I'm separating out parts of reality and saying this I like and this I don't. This is good and that is not. Rafi, please go ahead.
Yeah, excuse me. When I am in touch with the divine omnipresence, that infinite, all pervading love, that universal infinite love, there it's impossible to be separate from anything because that love is the only reality. And even the dream that never was, that we're experiencing on a moment to moment basis, so to speak, is infused with that divine love. So there is not a moment, there's not a nanosecond that love is never present. It never takes time off. It's never indifferent. It's always there, and it's the only reality. All the rest of the stuff that we're looking at is all made up. But even the stuff we made up is infused, and the substratum of it all is still that divine love. And the more I remind myself of that, well, I can't put it into words, but there's that revelation is both earth shaking and quite normal all at the same time. So there's the paradox that makes it so.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's earth shaking, but it makes sense. I love that. Thank you, Rafi. Yeah, Karen, please.
I think you described it very well, Rafi. I love that. I love the way you described it. Yeah, I love this paragraph because he reminds us over and over that we really don't understand what love is. And if you would love unlike to God who knows no special love, how can you understand it? Like, how can I understand love if I can't love like God, which is an all-inclusive love where there is no separation whatsoever. And I love in the Equality of Miracles in chapter 14, I think it's section 10, where he reminds us that the only judgment involved is the Holy Spirit's one division into two categories, one of love and the other the call for love. You cannot safely make this division, for you are much too confused either to recognize love or to believe that everything else is nothing but a call for love. You are too bound to form and not to content. And that is exactly it. I mean, there is nothing so blinding as perception of form. We are too bound to form here in this seeming world where we love this, but we don't love that. Like you were saying, Lynn, I remember there was a time when I would say, well, I like cats. I mean, I like kittens, but I don't like cats. It's like, well, there's not really a difference. One's grown and one's a baby. So, but there was the separation, there was the division, there was the comparison. And we did, like Mickey said, we do it all the time. So, for me, it's not so much trying to see everything the same because I've tried that. I said, well, let me just see how much I can see. I did. I said, today I'm going to spend the whole day just seeing love where I call for love. And I ended up seeing how much I don't see love, just love where I call for love. So that just shows how much healing my mind still needs, but it's healing and it's helping me to heal by showing me what needs to be healed. So I think we just do the best we can and recognize that we do the most loving thing we can in the moment, and we just can only do what we can. And I've experienced little bits and pieces here and there, little glimpses of that love that feels so all inclusive. And it's like, oh my God, you're just not even in this world. It's not in this world. It's definitely above the battleground. It's in out of time and space. And I don't think that I personally don't think this is just my experience that I'm meant to be there because if I was to be there, why would I be here? I mean, I still have conflict with that. There's a little conflict with me. I think that it's not of this world. So I don't know how else to explain it, but yeah, this is great. And there's one more place, and I think everyone's familiar with lesson 127, which is there is no love but God's. And he reminds us exactly what we think. We think that there are different kinds of love. We think that there's a kind of love for this, a kind of love for that, a way of loving one, another way of loving still another. Love is one. It has no separate parts and no degrees, no kinds nor levels throughout. It never alters with a person or a circumstance. It is the heart of God and also of his son. So he keeps reminding us over and over what it is. But to experience that, I can say that I'm definitely lacking on a daily basis to experience that, but I am definitely willing. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Karen. And that's all we're looking for, right? We're all looking for that experience. And so what are we looking for? The blocks to the awareness of that experience, right? That's all we're doing is looking, what are the blocks to the awareness of love's presence? And as you mentioned, I like kittens, but I don't like cats. I like babies, but I don't like adults or teenagers. It's so easy, when you look at, well, what's the difference? Well, this one, I don't see any sin in, and this other one, I can't see anything else. So, that is the whole point is, what is it that I'm choosing to see? Because if I'm choosing to see the differences, then I can't love one and not the other. You're right. I mean, and this is a practice. This is a practice that, I do it every day, and I'm sure that you do too. looking at these things that upset me, cause me to go into some, spiral of, shame or fear. And, think about, what is it that I really want here? What is it what is really happening? And when I see that it's nothing, it's so easy to let it go. But it's even better than seeing it as nothing when I see it as love. And that's the real choice. See, it's easy enough to say it's nothing, but it's not so easy to say it's love. And that's if you're looking for the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, look no further. It's a decision. Rafi, please go ahead.
Yeah, I had a perfect example of this with the demonstrations that are going on here in Los Angeles trying to block a deportation of immigrants. Um, I looked at all of those things and it brought up a lot of non-loving feelings toward the police, toward the groups of people who were actually paid to go into the peaceful protest and cause a lot of chaos to make it look like a riot so they'd have excuse to bring in military personnel to block it and stuff. And I looked at all of that. It brought up a lot of non-loving feelings. I was able to get in touch with them and let them go. So there I was being served perfectly. And then I looked at all of them, the demonstrators, the troublemakers, the police, the military people, and just started to see them all as the Christ consciousness and love them and love them and love them and love them and all equally. And I thought, what better lesson? Look how great it did all of this get put there just so I could get in touch with the truth of the love that we all are and love equally. Must be, otherwise, why would they be there? And so I was able to get that so thoroughly inculcated, the love, the divine love that is completely and equal for all. That I thought, what an incredible gift this is. And here, so I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Thank you, Rafi. That is so beautiful. Thank you so much.
I felt
And
so much
yeah,
compassion for all of them, even the troublemakers.
yeah,
And I thought, oh God, what a gift! What a gift!
yeah. Because it's a gift to them too, because as we forgive those ideas, their minds are healed too. This is what we have to always remember. We're here to heal the mind, and it's not just my mind. It's the entire sonship that's healed when I'm healed. So, this is this and in this to me, Jesus spells it out really well when he talks about uh I can't think of the word. Uh, anyway, he talks about that if I'm willing to see you sinless, if I'm willing to see the Christ in you, uh, uh, then I'm actually uh, uh, healing my mind. And when my mind is healed, your mind is healed as well. Kind of like in true empathy, but uh, it's another word, and I can't think of it. Dove knows it. Anyway, Karen, please go ahead.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and I can't think of the word either, but I that's so true. And I love, Rafi, what you just shared. That's so beautiful. And that is a great practice. And that is something that Ken Wapnick teaches a lot. He teaches, that the victim and the victimizer are the same. We have the same compassion because think about how much that victimizer is hurting, because if they weren't hurting, they wouldn't be doing that. If they were feeling the love of God inside of them, would they be torturing, or would they be raping, or would they be whatever they're doing? So we have the same compassion. That is the practice, to see them the same. And it's either a love or a call for love, which is the Holy Spirit's judgment. And that's so beautiful. And that's really what I try to do. But the other thing that I just wanted to share was I was out with a friend yesterday for lunch. We were talking just about different things, and my uncle came up, and I shared about, and he doesn't mind that I share this. He shared, he has told me about his childhood. There was one time when his father wanted to thought, and this was his father thought he was being loving doing this. So he had to go to bed and it was time, but he wanted to leave the light on. He was a little kid, and his father said, "No, you're not having the light on." He was scared. He said, "Oh, you're scared of the dark? Okay, I'll show you what scared of the dark is." He took him down to the basement. He tied him to the pole, shut the light out. He said, "Now you're going to learn not to be scared of the dark." And that's terrible if you think about it. A little kid who's scared of the dark to tie him to a pole in a basement, right? But he thought that was being loving, that he was teaching his child. He didn't know any different. He didn't know any better. To him, that was love. So that was a good example for me to see that we don't know what anything is for, what's going on out there. That if I'm to see everything as love or a call for love, that example showed me that's love. Doesn't look like love to me, but I don't know what anything is for. So that really helped me put it into perspective. Thanks.
Thank you, Karen. And yeah, we all know those, some of us know those scary practices that parents once knew and did in order to rid you of your fears, or, throw you in the lake so you'll learn how to swim. It was like sink or swim. Uh, I mean, that is old school parenting. People think, oh, we want to go back to the olden days. No, we don't. But what you were talking about reminded me, and it is true charity. The word I was looking for was charity. And it says, and this is in the function of the miracle worker in chapter 2. Healing is an ability that developed after the separation before which it was unnecessary. Like all aspects of the belief in space and time, it is temporary. However, as long as time persists, healing is needed as a means of protection. This is because healing rests on charity, and charity is a way of perceiving the perfection of another, even if you cannot perceive it in yourself. Most of the loftier concepts of which you are capable now are time dependent. Charity is really a weaker reflection of a much more powerful love encompassment that is far beyond any form of charity you can conceive of as yet. Charity is essential to right-mindedness in the limited sense in which it can now be attained. So charity, he says, then charity is, and this is what we're talking about, charity is a way of looking at another as if he had already gone far beyond his actual accomplishments in time. Since his own thinking is faulty, he cannot see the atonement for himself, or he would have no need of charity. The charity that is accorded him is both an acknowledgement that he needs help and a recognition that he will accept it. So, uh, he goes on about talking about time, but he says the miracle as an expression of charity can only shorten time. It must be understood, however, that whenever you offer a miracle to another, you are shortening the suffering of both of you. And this is the big biggie. This corrects retroactively as well as progressively. And what does that mean? It means it heals the past and the future. And this is how the miracle uh uh saves time, is because it takes away, it heals the error that had brought us to the place where we did see our brother as if he's something else. But this is what we're talking about with this holy relationship. And I'll go back to our reading. This is what we're talking about. We're talking about joining with somebody in the place where he is far beyond his actual accomplishments in time. That we can look at them and see them as being whole, see them as being uh, sinless, see them as being love, And in that way, we we see them as being a part of God. And that's why this paragraph, you can't love parts of it and not and understand what love is. Because if you don't see your brother as whole, you'll never see him as um, the Christ. And the sad part about it is, if I can't see my brother as the Christ, I can't see myself as the Christ either. And the whole idea of, becoming the Christ is seeing the Christ in everything. It's like being John Malkovich, that scene where he goes in and he goes in himself, John Malkovich, and everything is John Malkovich in the scene at the restaurant. It's all hilarious. But that's what it is. It's like we go into that and then we are every part of it. And in the wholeness, we see the absolute sinlessness of it, the absolute perfection of it. So, anybody else have any thoughts on this? Karen, yes, please.
Yeah, I always think of Dove. I've shared this before, but I just think it's relevant to what we're talking about. I always think of Dove being having that charity, always having that faith in a course student who's not really feeling ready to teach. He always gives them that, development of trust lesson where, you develop trust. That's how you learn to develop trust. And you just teach, and he gives people confidence, but when people don't have the confidence, he lets them know that he sees the potential in them when they can't see it in themselves. And he does that all the time by gathering people to teach who really are. We all know, we've all been there. Oh my God, I can't do that. I don't know enough. I haven't read enough, I haven't learned enough, blah, 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 whatever. But he always sees beyond that and says, all you have to do is trust. You trust the Holy Spirit, and you don't need to know what to do or what to say. So I think that's a form of charity, seeing in the other person that you already know they have that ability, even though they don't know it yet. And then they see that they do have it once they start to use it. So yeah, I just wanted to share that.
Yes, exactly. And that's a really good example, Karen, because yeah, Dove knows we can do it. And he knows that all we have to do is just come on here and take our place, and the rest is given to us. And you're never going to have the experience of having it given to you until you put yourself in a place where you can receive it. And so that's, that whole idea of giving and receiving are the same thing. That's what happens when I give, I receive every single time. And I can't even there's no thought about how I could how what I could be right now if I hadn't started teaching. If I hadn't started sharing in this forum. I find it to be uh the fast track to awakening. Seriously. Anyway, Rafi has his hand up. Please go ahead, Rafi.
Yeah, you two pretty much capsulized everything beautifully. When a simple act of kindness is not saying that the other person is imperfect, because that's an ego judgment. It's what it is that love that is in me, that is me, is contacting the love that is in them as them. There's the harmony. That's what a single act of charity or a single act of kindness is. Even if holding a door open for somebody or whatever, it doesn't matter. There's no size in kindness. The other thing happens is what gets in the way of that for me and for so many others is unloving feelings come up. Am I doing this to get their approval? Do I want to change what's going on? If I do this, will I feel sick? Then just welcome those feelings and let them go. That's part of all of the divine perfection that is there. Everything is working for us, so it doesn't matter um, how it shows itself. It's going to show itself and then it's up to us then to be in harmony with it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Rafi. Exactly, that's it. And again, it's up to me. And when I can see, when I can look at everyone, and that's that this is the challenge. It's not just, oh, I can look at all the people that are in my course group, or all the people that agree with me, or all the people that are, whatever, my family or whatever. I have to look at everybody and recognize, as Karen was saying, they are doing what they're doing out of from their own perception of what love is, from their own perception of what love is. It's either a call for love or it's love. That's all it is, and it can't be anything different than that. So, why, instead of saying, no, 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 you're wrong, that's not what love is, uh, because I can guarantee you I'm not going to give them a better option. I'm not going to give them an option that is going to make them feel good, make them happy. I'm going to give them an option that's going to make them have to change something that they had felt very confident was true. And so, I, you can't force, just like during the Inquisition, look at all the things that they did to try to force Jews to convert, and I mean, millions of people were murdered because they wouldn't change their mind. They didn't even have to change their mind. They just had to say they changed their mind. But it was so caught up in their thinking that if I say that, that is, that is the one thing I can't do. Some could, many did, but, many others died, were tortured and died. And why? Why? Because one ego thought that another ego should agree with it about, what it thinks is real. And that, you may think, well, I'm not like that. I'm not like that. But I guarantee you, if there was one of these people that we disagree with, uh, right in front of me, well, I don't know how I would do, because if my disagreement with the person was so much more convincing than my love for that person, then I might say some mean things. And I do say mean things, and I have said mean things. Of course, that person's not here to hear it, but that doesn't mean the effect is not there. Believe me, this is one of the things that tears me up inside, is that I am so uh, tolerant of the judgments of the ego taking over my overcoming the the call for love. I mean, it's a shameful thing to me, that I would turn against the call for love and and argue or make another person guilty. Uh, anyway, I see Karen's has her hand up. Please go ahead, Karen.
Yeah, I don't see it as a shameful thing. I think that's what we're all doing here. And we're all learning. We're all learning and we're all seeing that, this is what needs to be healed. That's all. And we never need to feel guilty about it or anything, because that's why we're here. Don't worry about the shadows. That is why you came thing that he talks about somewhere. So I love what you just shared, Lynn. Thank you. And it really comes down to us being too bound to form. I really love this because it's telling us that he says you are too bound to form and not to content. What you consider content is not content at all. It is merely form and nothing else. For you do not respond to what a brother really offers you, but only to the particular perception of his offering by which the ego judges it. So we're judging the form of the behavior. We think it should look like this, you know? And I could say that for what's going on in the country today, like I think it should look like this. And this is what I need to look at, and this is what I need to work on. And I I don't judge myself for it. I don't think it's shameful, and I don't really, and I'm working on my body too. I talked with my friend. We were both talking about body issues yesterday, which was helpful. It was very helpful for both of us because it helped us both to heal that I'm not the only one. She's going through stuff too, but we learned how to look at it differently and not allow it to affect our peace of mind. That's the practice. It doesn't have to affect my peace of mind. It's not the truth of who I am, you know? And I don't have to blame anybody for anything. I can take responsibility for it today. So it's all for the healing, all of it. But I think the form is gets in the way, especially with the body. And when I can just see it, even my body, as this is a call for love, to love regardless of what the form looks like, feels like, or whatever, then I feel at peace. Thanks.
Thank you. That's beautiful. Thank you, Karen. And exactly it. And take it easy on yourself. You know, just relax, chill out, and recognize that you can't do it wrong, and we're all on our way. We're all there. So and we're in mighty company this whole time. Sharon, please go ahead.
Oh, I just want to thank everybody because I think the sharing is phenomenal. Because the more, and this is how I see this now. When you're in a group, you learn all different things from all different brothers and sisters. And I feel like what Karen just shared is, I still have like, sometimes not like I did, but I have like a lot of judgment on what's going on here today. And it's coming from the spiritual ego, really, because I want everybody to get everything. But that's not going to happen in a dream. And so the being that helps me the most sometimes are people like this, that all of you, that just get honest, because this is totally a process. It's not like we all already are. We already have that. But the undoing, well, I was talking about that this morning. It takes time. That's all. Thank you.
Right. And it takes time because Jesus is not going to pry the world out of our hands. Jesus is not going to come and say, I'm sick of you with this, just give that to me, and you just go back to heaven, will you? Because I'm tired of messing with all your antics. Jesus is not going to do that because Jesus knows that if that were to happen, well, what happened is I would be upset because he was taking my toys away. And so I can't give it up until I'm ready, right? I can't give it up until I'm ready. And when I'm ready to let it go, I will. There's things that can, help me become more ready. Doing the lessons, reading book, or joining with you all, or meditating, or there's so many things that we can do that will give us to a place where I can feel uh uh just joyful no matter what happens. I can laugh at the world, which Jesus tells us in the course we're going to do. We're going to be laughing at these things that we think are terrible. We're going to laugh at death, laugh at sickness, laugh at destruction, because we're going to see that it was never possible. It never happened. And we can laugh just as if as as if we were just able to vanquish all the, put everything back in Pandora's box. That's exactly what we're hoping for or working for, all of us. There's nobody, you're not going to find somebody who's going to say, I really just want to be miserable. Please leave me alone. No Eeyores out there, because you know what? Eeyore wanted to be loved too. Doesn't matter how he acted. He wanted to be loved too. And so yeah. Hey, welcome, Rev Wayne. So does anybody else have any comments here? Or would anyone like to read the next paragraph?
I'll read it.
All right.
Because of guilt, all special relationships have elements of fear in them. This is why they shift and change so frequently. They're not based on changeless love alone, and love, where fear has entered, cannot be depended on because it's not perfect. In his function, capital H, as interpreter of what you made, the Holy Spirit uses special relationships which you have chosen to support the ego as learning experiences that point to the truth. Everything is working toward our ultimate good. Under his teaching, every relationship becomes a lesson in love. Couldn't spell it out any better than that.
Yeah, very, very clear. Absolutely. Uh, so he explains it because of guilt. But let's look at what are the elements of fear that are in our special relationships. I mean, just because they're special, right off the bat, you think, oh man, what if he leaves me? What if she falls in love with somebody else? What if they die? What if whatever. There's all these fears that come up in the special relationship that uh, keeps you from being wholly open and honest and love. It puts you in a place where you are working under fear. Rafi, please go ahead.
You couldn't have nailed it better. It's just all of that stuff that, oh, the what ifs, the what ifs, the what ifs. That's all what I call scenarioizing. It's projecting something in the future that doesn't exist. Now I got to protect myself from it. Now I got to, and it doesn't even exist. And so that's trying to protect yourself with fear, which is impossible. But that's how ego minds work. You try to protect yourself with fear. You try to protect yourself with resistance. It's insanity. And and when it comes up for me, I say, well, okay, I see what's going on here, and it's stupid, stupid, stupid for me to hold on to it. What would be the point of holding on to something that's so destructive and self-perpetuating destructiveness? All of this, this might happen, that might happen, this might happen, oh, please. What about now? What's going on right now? And as soon as that happens, and then the rest of the stuff, it's one of the three wants, and I'll just bring it up and let it go. But it's, yeah, all of that scenarioizing and trying to protect yourself with fear. Woo, boys, that typical ego in the wow.
Yeah, thank you for that, Rafi. And yeah, you had some great examples there, and absolutely, it's it. You're just, trying to protect ourselves in whatever way we feel we're in danger. Oh my gosh. Zilma, please go ahead.
In conjunction with what Rafi said, I use the word futurizing and awfulizing, Rafi. Same thing. Trying to, the situation with my doggy and what he's been going, has the two experiences he's had, and I'm careful about who I talk to about that, because what I don't want to hear, what I don't want to feed into, is the what ifs. I can't deal with the what ifs. I can only enjoy this moment. It's always now, no matter what, it's always now. And whatever, shall be, but I only have this moment, and I'm grateful for this moment. And that's why we can give thanks. That's why appreciation and gratitude are like for now, because this is it. This is really it. And I can't do that. There was a time, though. There was a time, and there are moments, but they're brief. Today, I'm like, wait, stop, 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 and recognize that it's always only now. I'm complete.
Thank you, Zilma. And now is eternal. So, we're eternalizing this moment of love. And that's the other way to look at it. So I love that, what you just said. Anybody else have any comments on this? McKaylee, please go ahead. Hi, sweetheart.
Hi, hi. I'm off today, so I'm
Hey.
able to share. I love the sharing, and I love where it says the last sentence that Rafi read. Under his teaching, every relationship becomes a lesson in love. So, that made me think that it's, how Karen has it on her thing Ken says, when I wake up, I'm in school. So it's a classroom. So when we step back as a decision maker and look at it through the eyes of the Holy Spirit, then every relationship right there becomes a lesson in love. So that's the classroom, the lesson in love. It's how are you perceiving? How are you looking at this? And as the beginning said, because of guilt, all special relationships have elements of fear in them. Well, it's the fear and the guilt that's hidden. And so you just have to kind of, lift the veil. And that's why I really like the course, because, the course is a tool, and it's not a religion, and it's a tool. It's, you could say, like, you brush your teeth, and the course is the toothpick. So you can brush your teeth and you got smile in the mirror and you got these pretty shiny teeth, but you haven't gone and picked in between the way that the teeth are made in between the crevices. And you need to go in there and see what's hidden with your toothpick or your little pick that you use, your flossing. So thank you.
I love that, McKaylee, and I love the idea. Yes, don't forget to floss because that's as shiny and bright as your teeth might be, something in between this rotten stuff out. So I love that. You're so cute. All right. So this looks like about the end of our time. I'm going to go ahead and stop the share. And I see Rev Wayne in the room. Anybody have any last thoughts before we close out the YouTube? Karen, yes, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to share the other thing that's coming to me is this, under his teaching, every relationship becomes a lesson in love, which is a holy relationship, which is that each one has looked within and seen no lack. Because when we're in a special, for me, I'm going to speak for myself, in a special relationship, there's always, what can I get out of this? I feel lack here. This is going to fill me up. This is going to make me feel better. This is how my relationships used to be. That was my other half, right? But this is the lesson in love. The lesson is in love is teaching us that this special relationship can become a holy relationship, and we see that there is no lack. So I just wanted to share that. Thanks.
I love that, Karen. Absolutely. And that is it. When we're lacking nothing, there's no more seeking. When you're lacking nothing, uh, you are not seeking.